So in this video, I'm going to hit a big 705 deadlift, which is certainly not a PR, but I haven't been training heavy for strength training like singles, doubles, triples to the point where I actually want to hit a PR in like over 6 months. I think it was my nationals prep that I trained pretty hard for powerlifting, in which after that period, I decided to take time off just to really prioritize hypertrophy. Now, there's a big misconception that if you train for bodybuilding or hypertrophy training in a period of like 4 or 5 months and you don't really prioritize SBD, that you're not powerlifting anymore. And I think the majority of people that take breaks quit, which is true, but I just like to call it a long off season for powerlifting. The longer you've been training in powerlifting, you're going to see diminished returns for doing prime mover movements with SBD or specific to the SBD that will either just give you less return in the long run or give you frequent injuries or overuse injuries, which is essentially power building. All high-level powerlifters are power builders if you look at it, because if you're a bigger version of yourself, you're probably going to be a stronger version of yourself, unless you lose all your leverages. Usually people lose leverages on the deadlift, and so after gaining 20 pounds myself, I was surprised to see that it's feeling pretty good still. I have a lost size to gain before it'll affect my deadlift. And so in this session, I'm very happy about how things moved. It wasn't the fastest 705 deadlift I ever had, but what I realized with the 705 deadlift was that I've only reintroduced powerlifting training for about 3 weeks, and my base strength is pretty high. And usually when I touch 700, I need ammonia, I need a lot of hype, I need to energy dump it, but I was pretty comfortable doing 2 singles with it. Now this accessory that I'm doing right now is a cluster set of back down deadlifts. Because I want hyper specific this block with powerlifting, I want to see where I could actually be at with my deadlift single at the end of it. And so this move in particular, a cluster set of deadlift, I did 5 singles. The point of it is to practice singles while not increasing the load, but increasing the difficulty of the movement by taking shorter rests, essentially progressive overload. What you should tend to notice is that as I go rep to rep, the rep gets slower, more grindy, but because I'm not pushing up load, should be relatively safe while I could still practice singles, because I do plan to peak my deadlift and try a random gym single at some point. So I did about 5 of these with 30-second breaks in between. That's why it's fast forward. And it's nothing too crazy. It's about 615 pounds on the bar. But in total of this session, I did about 7 singles if you include the back downs. And also do not include the warm-ups. One thing I should be doing next week is taking bigger jumps on my warm-ups so I can conserve a little more energy on my singles. But I'm not complaining how that session went because my quads are fried from squatting 600. And because I'm doing more of a powerlifting program, I'm actually benching 4 times a week now. And I did develop a little bit of bicep tendon pain, which really just made me realize I was very crooked on one side, my left side versus my right side. So after compensating this session, I actually felt a massive improvement, less pain, actually no pain at all on my top set. And moving forward, it really made me understand that I can't really get away with crooked benching for the long run of my training progress. Now, a big training hack that you could use for your own training is, you see that gross little grandmother mat I'm using on my back? That's to really allow me not to slide up the bench. It creates grip, and so I got that from the dollar store. It's like $1.25. It's the same thing as bands, but bands kind of like run up your ass crack. But getting back to this bench session, I did about a 3x6 with 295. These are my back downs from yesterday because I benched yesterday, and I did actually double pause yesterday to kind of swap it. Because going from 2 times a week to 4 times a week on bench press, you have to make sure that your body is able to tolerate it. But moving forward after this train block, I don't think I'm going to stick with 4 times a week. It's a little much. My goal is trying to put on more size for hypertrophy. Also, shout out to this guy, Brandon. He came up to me, showed me his phone. He had some notes from the videos I put a while ago. He also asked for the shout out, so here you go. He's also a super chill, jacked dude. So here we go with this workout. I'm doing deadlifts and back. Just kidding. Deadlift and arms. That's because I stopped designating a certain body part to the day and started allocating accessory movements based on which muscle group was hit least frequently. And I'm not going to lie, doing this made the pump suck balls. But sometimes the pump is not the best indicator of progression. But don't get me wrong, I love a good pump. It makes the gym so much more fun. But as long as you don't just completely quit your accessories and you still go hard at them, you're going to see progress. And so if you feel embarrassed because you're going on a powerlifting program and you're no longer prioritizing hypertrophy, your physique's not going to melt because you stopped doing hypertrophy focused training. As long as you're pushing your accessories hard, even if the pump sucks balls. And if anything, you're like running on junk volume like crazy, having a powerlifting program with reduced volume could be beneficial for your long-term hypertrophy progress. So you could deload volume and resensitize yourself back into it in a month or 2. which is essentially the reason why I decided to do this powerlifting program for a bit. I felt like I had a little bit too much junk volume in my training to the point where I wasn't really pushing intensity to its fullest. Not because I was getting lazy, but because I literally just felt like the fatigue was too high. And so you could maintain volume, but just drop your intensity. Because yes, train to failure is great, but if you're trained to failure on every single exercise all the time, at what point in your training program are you going to have time to recover? That's some catabolic action. And I'm speaking from the point of power building. People have too much of an identity crisis when they're talking about their powerlifting or bodybuilding split. The way I like to think about it is if you're able to achieve about 98% of your hypertrophy goals with the ability to push your strength to about 100% of your potential, or would you rather have 100% of your hypertrophy potential and 75% of your strength potential? Now, of course, it doesn't work like that and it's not entirely accurate, but that's the beauty of training. They're like two dials that you could change and will inversely affect each other in a mesocycle in the short run. But if you dedicate certain blocks or certain periods for strength or hypertrophy training, it's not only going to keep your training fresh, but they actually do help each other, which is the magic of power building. Not running your central nervous system to the ground on hard compounds to the point that you have energy to do fluff accessory movements, but it's for the point for keeping training exciting, accepting that it's not so strict. You don't have to be the best powerlifter, you don't have to be the best bodybuilder, because both disciplines are very heavily persuaded by your genetics. Some of the best powerlifters out there can be non-serious powerlifters. Some of the most serious powerlifters might be the least competitive powerlifters. This isn't boxing versus MMA. Proper strength training will get you jacked. Proper hypertrophy training will get you stronger. Doing more biceps will make your arms look bigger. It's fun. That's why I'm getting them bigger. And I've actually decided to stick more of my back movements on my leg days and only do like 1 or 2 vertical and horizontal pulls. If you asked me this like 4 years ago, I'd be like, that's an absolute sin. But in the context of a deload period with lesser volume, it just makes more sense. Why allocate a whole day for back day when you're only going to do like 2 accessories because you have to deload volume? If you put in the work, regardless of the pump, you're still going to benefit. Now, I'm not going to cap and be like, you're going to get the best amount of gains from it as if you were completely fresh. That's just not true. There's still a cost aspect to it if you're going to train depleted. You're going to be weaker. You're going to not get as many reps as if you did it as a first movement. But as long as you acknowledge it, that's just a phase in your training that you're accepting inferior progress for a certain movement at one point in time, then you're still going to push hard and you're going to be okay with it because you're going to realize at the same time, the main goal is not to get jacked arms. The main goal is not to put on as much mass as possible. Now that might be a side quest goal, but if your main goal is to dedicate your training to powerlifting, do not spread yourself too thin. Now you can spread yourself thin in the earlier years of training because you can get away with a lot in the beginning, but as you progress, being meticulous as your training is the smartest way to continue to make progress for your strength and hypertrophy goals. Thank you everyone that watched this video. Like, subscribe, comment below. Use code JustLee for 30% off this Black Friday on the 21st of November. If you're interested in what I got this drop, check out the video. It's going to play in about 10 seconds. If you don't care about clothing, have a nice day. How's it going, YouTube? So today we're going to be doing a try and haul, a size guide, if you will, for November 21st Black Friday's drop. It's a pretty hefty drop, and so you want to make sure you get the right clothing pieces because some of these clothing pieces do not fit, I would say, true to size, or they just fit a little bit differently based on how you're built. For size reference, I'm 6'1". I'm 224 pounds of lean, pure muscle. Just kidding, I have a bit of belly now. I'm bulking. About 16 to 17 inch arms. Quads are about 26 to 27 inches. So let's start with the fit I'm currently wearing. These are the Cloud Slides, I believe. Pretty surprisingly hard. Like, you can't really bend it. I don't think you can really bend it without destroying the slide. So these are the new Immortal Joggers. I wear a size XL. So these are the XL joggers. I wear a size XL. This is just another colorway, the Grimace Shake color. Unlike the previous Immortal Joggers, these are a lot more fitted. I feel like they're less baggy around the cuff, less thick around here, so they feel like a more fitted version of the Immortals, and also a lot more breathable for your sweaty balls. This is the blue/gray version. Maybe I'm colorblind, but this looks kind of blue to me, but also could be passed as gray. Now getting into the compressions, I don't know the exact name of this one, but this one's a bit of a thicker material, very comparable to the Superhero compression. I wear an XL. Now this is the same compression shirt, but a different colorway. Now this compression, I also wear an extra large, and if it's a lot tighter, it's a lot thinner material. It's a lot more slippery. So here's the same shirt that I just worn. This one I used, it was my dirty laundry pile, so it's a little gross, but fit on the black just looks so much better in my opinion. I think this one will be a hot drop. This compression is definitely more of a lightweight fitting compared to the previous compression. So next we have the Rambo pants. These are definitely a lot thicker. So I'll warn you on that. They also feel a little bit on the bigger side. They're an extra large. Big contrast to the Immortals. Here's the cool thing about these. You could tie knots on these guys. So if you like the cuff look, you could adjust that. If you don't like tying knots, do not get these. I have not tied the black ones. These are the black versions of the same pants, but I really like the black on black look. Just want to show you. Untied still looks pretty cool. These are also an extra large. These are definitely the OG joggers. They really hug the legs, which if you have thinner legs, you might like that more. I kind of like the feel in these. So I don't know the name of these, but these also feel like the same pants, extra large, but they have a zipper on the side. I don't know why you'd want this, to be honest. The good thing about these, they have a mesh and they're very lightweight, despite looking so bulky. These you could definitely wear shorts under. They're not nearly as tight on the quads or glutes, so I would definitely recommend these. These are like windbreaker pants. Now we got the shorts. These are extra large. Quads like mine, you might not love shorts like these, but they're surprisingly comfortable. Cotton material. Now we're getting to the shirts. This has a bit of a stain on it because I use this and this is for my dirty laundry, but I get all my shirts in large, unless they're compression, for the sizing like that. How much to say? Very comfortable, very stretchy material. Now let's speak about pump tarps. It's a white shirt. I also wear a large for it. I like the design. Feels pretty nice, the quality. Obviously I'm wearing two shirts, which I never do, but for the sakes of demonstration, I am. I usually wear compression under this or a tank top or stringer. Different colorway, different design of that long sleeve shirt. As you can see, a large fits pretty well on me, lengthwise, design-wise, hugs the back, feels nice, comfortable, a solid pump tarp. If you don't want to take off the pump tarp, you can still see progress. So we got this sweatshirt, block the noise, fight them demons. Sizing on this is an extra large. Now this hoodie, on the other hand, this one over-delivered. I did not think it was going to be this nice. Same idea as the previous hoodie. Put the hoodie on, get in hoodie mode, and you're game to fight the demons. Now this is a hat. I like this hat a lot. It's also part of the drop. Pair it with this jacket. The insulation on this is amazing, so I really like it because for wind, for just keeping body heat, it does a pretty good job at it. And it looks cool. So at least I think it looks cool. Now this bomber jacket is also an extra large, but it fits a little short, if I'm being honest. I don't know if it's intended. Very stylish too. I'd recommend it, extra large. Now the last item for the drop is this jacket. Straps in it, which I don't really know what they're for. I'm a noob. This is thick, but it's not like super dense, if that makes sense. Material is feathery. It's not super dense, so it might be a good thing at the same time to have something lightweight. But this is a great jacket if your weathers get down to minus 15 Celsius. If you're 0 degrees, this is a perfect jacket, to be honest, because it's not too clunky. It's lightweight. I feel like the seasons are transitioning. I feel like a little kid in the playground that doesn't want to wear his jacket, but also doesn't want to leave it somewhere, so he carries it like this. But yeah, that is the Black Friday try-on haul. Use code JESSLEY to save 30% off. Thank you everyone that used my code.